Good afternoon. My name. Can you please mute yourself?
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Can you please mute yourselves, others? I request everyone please mute yourselves because we are about to start with the class. Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ashwini. So I'll be taking up organizational behavior classes for you all. So today is my first class. And I just want to know, first of all, before we start, I want to know what all topics have been covered so far.
This is the first class, ma'am.
OB, what all?
This is the first class.
This is first class. Yeah, my first class. Yeah, this is my first class. But I have heard that there are some other classes which have been conducted and some topics have been covered earlier. So I just want to know what all the topics which have been covered earlier.
No, ma'am. Only personality and counseling psychology classes have been.
Ma'am, offline we did not attend it, ma'am. In offline they have completed some syllabus.
OB.
So we don't know. We did not attend it offline, ma'am.
So
those who
even
have attended offline
were not there.
This is the first class, OB class. So till now we didn't attend any class and we were not notified earlier. So this will be our first class in OB, ma'am. I think it's the same with everyone.
I have heard that there were classes. I have heard that there were classes done earlier. So I just wanted to know from you all what all topics have been covered. Those who were do you all have any idea what all classes have been, what all topics have been covered so far?
No, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. We have covered until Unit 5.
I can't hear you properly, ma. Can you repeat it again? Yes. Can you please repeat it again? I couldn't hear you properly.
She said they were covered till chapter 5.
Chapter 5, it has been covered. Okay. So I have been instructed to start from block 3, that is foundations of group behavior. We'll start off with the chapter 9 as of now. We'll continue like that. Later on, we can come back to block 2.
Yes, ma'am. From block 3 you start. After completion of all this, we'll go back again.
Yeah. So coming to block 3, we'll be dealing with foundations of group behavior. Am I clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Some disturbance is there, ma'am. Some disturbance is there.
Disturbance is there? I think that's my laptop fan which is rotating. Apart from that, there's no disturbance over here. My voice is clear. I mean, I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's okay, ma'am. We can carry on.
Fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So please mute yourselves. So coming to the third unit, that is foundations of group behavior. We'll be dealing with groups, models of group development, group processes, understanding working teams, and communication. These are the topics which we will be covering in block 3. So coming to unit 9, that is groups. In this unit, we'll be discussing about what is a group or how groups are formed, what are the various characteristics of groups, and what are the different types of groups, what are the different functions of group members, and various other characteristics, or you can say various other group dynamics we will be studying in this particular unit. So coming to the introduction part of groups, can you tell me what do you mean by a group, or how are groups formed? How do you define a group? How do you define a group?
It is a collection of individuals or a collection of people who work towards a common thing. It can be in an institute or an organization or
Yes.
in any government office or any NGO like that.
Yes. So basically, a group is nothing but a collection of two or more individuals who come together to form a stable relationship because there are certain objectives which they have to meet. And when there are objectives, when it is a group, that means there are certain objectives, and all the members of the group will strive towards accomplishing these objectives. It will be like a common goal for all the members of the group. They come together, they share common goals, and they maintain a stable relationship so that the goals can be achieved. Now, what is the difference between a group and a crowd? What is the difference between a group and a crowd?
Crowd is random.
No relationship between individuals.
Different categories.
Yes.
In a crowd, there is nothing in common. Like they belong to.
There is no common goal in a crowd. There is a
Yes.
common goal in a group.
Exactly. So there are a lot of differences when we speak in terms of group and crowd. Group has a common goal. The members of the group are they have some kind of a proximity which they maintain. They have stable relationship, either it is for temporary reasons or for permanent reasons, whereas in a crowd there is no there are no common objectives which they have, and a crowd will always be like a temporary kind of an atmosphere, and there is no stable relationship as it is found in the members who are in a crowd. That's the difference between group and a crowd. So coming now to classification of groups. So just before classification, groups are generally formed to achieve common objectives. To have a group, there has to be more than two members. Only with two members you cannot call it as a group. There has to be more than two members, wherein these members come together, accomplish a common goal. And why are groups? In organizations, we have groups because of various reasons. Because there are these groups. The types of groups which we will be discussing, the groups are formed based on what kind of a role they will be playing, what kind of objectives they have in general for that particular group, and how they are going to accomplish these group goals. So every organization has groups. It can be one group, or the whole organization can be considered as one group. Within that group, there can be multiple groups which have their own basic functions. So like that, in every organization, we have many types of groups which perform their own particular functions. So coming to classifications of groups, according to the syllabus, we have two types of groups. Generally, we have many types of groups, but over here, we'll be studying about two types of groups. One is formal group and one is informal group. Roughly, I'll tell you what is formal, what is informal. Formal group is always based on certain rules, regulations. There are certain strict norms to be followed, and there are certain strict objectives because based on which the group members have to work accordingly. Like that, we have n number of formal groups. Say, for example, in your office, when you're working, that is a formal group. Okay, anywhere we attend a seminar or we attend a workshop, that is a formal group. Okay, so like this, there are some kind of communities, that is again a kind of a formal group, some kind of command groups, task groups. So these are all different kinds of formal groups. Informal groups are those groups which don't have in there are objectives in informal groups, but you know there is nothing like a set rule as such in informal group. It's not like if you have to be a part of this group, you have to, you know, you have to have these characteristics, or if you have to be a part of this group, you have to follow these norms, these rules. Nothing like that. Informal group is very, very informal in nature. No rules, no regulations. The members of the group are very, very casual in nature. For example, some kind of interest groups, our family group is an informal group. Friends group is an informal group. Suppose you go out to play cricket, that's an informal group. Suppose you go out with friends, you know, to dinner, that's an informal group again. So like this, there are different, these two are different types of groups. So in detail, let's discuss about this in detail. I just giving you a rough picture about formal and informal. So basically, formal groups are created by the organizations intentionally designed to direct its members towards some important organization goal. So one type of formal group is command group. We call it as a command group. So here in this command group, for example, a command group may be formed a command group may be formed, for example, by the vice president of the marketing department for a large organization who gathers together his regional marketing directors from around the country to develop a new national advertising campaign. So this is something like a manager is there, and the manager has a team, and the manager fixes certain objectives for his team. Okay, and according to those objectives, according to those norms, according, yeah, please mute yourselves, please mute yourselves. So according to these, according to these norms, according to these rules, these people who are a part of this command group should work. Okay, so the point is that command groups are determined by organizations rules regarding who reports to whom, and are usually composed of a supervisor and his or her subordinates. So like this, you have one team member, sorry, one team leader, okay, who will be like the highest in the hierarchy. Under him there will be his subordinates who report to him, so he commands. So there are, this is a small command group, small or a big command group, which has been created to accomplish certain organization goals. Another group is called as task group. Task group may be composed of individuals with some special interest, okay, special interest or expertise in some specific area, regardless of their positions in the organizational hierarchy. For example, a company may have a committee on equal employment opportunities whose members monitor the fair hiring practices of the organization. It may be composed of personnel specialists, corporate vice presidents, and workers from the shop floor. Whether they are permanent committees known as standing committees or temporary ones known as ad hoc committees or task forces, task groups represent a commonly occurring type of group in organizations. So here in task group, these groups are created based on a specific interest, or you can say based on a specific criteria. Okay, based on a specific criteria, these task groups have been will be created in a particular organizations. So the criteria can be anything. It can be hiring people, it can be conducting interviews, it can be conducting some kind of aptitude tests for the people, it can be giving them personality training, it can be giving them some kind of technical training, it can be anything. So these task groups are commonly created for the purpose of a particular criteria, okay, which can again be considered as a formal group. Okay, apart from these two, that is command group and formal group, apart from these, there are some other types of what do you say, formal groups in the organization, such as interest groups. Sorry, these are informal groups. Yeah. Yes. So these are based on this command group and task groups. They have given some examples regarding the various types of formal groups. For example, boards consist of people who are either elected or appointed to manage some entity, and they are responsible for taking into account the interests of those who selected them. So here, board of directors, okay, then some kind of what do you say, securities and exchange commission, you know, all these are some kind of command groups or task groups which will be created according to the organization's rules or according to the organization's criteria. Coming to the informal groups, informal groups are, as I've told you, they develop naturally. It's not like you know, these are the objectives, these are the functions of an informal group, these are the rules for informal, nothing like that. There is nothing like that. They just develop naturally among an organization's personnel without any direction from the management of the organization within which they operate. It's not necessary that, you know, you have to report to somebody to be a part of an informal group. Say for example, within an organization there are colleagues, you have colleagues, okay, you work with your other colleagues. It's not necessary that you have to take permission from someone or from your higher authority or from your boss to make a small informal group among yourselves. It just happens naturally. There are no fixed rules as such. Generally these kind of informal groups will be created, or you know, people come together in a kind of an informal group when there is a common interest between them. Okay, due to the common interest shared by the members of the group, these informal groups actually create, and you know, people, yeah, and people come together because of an interest. Say for example, a group of employees, you're working in an organization, okay, you're working in an organization, and in weekends a group of employees say, chalo, let's do some kind of a Swachh Bharat kind of a campaign, very informally. Let's go to some park or to some garden and just try to clean that for the you know, residents, anything it can be. It's a kind of a Swachh Bharat. It's a very, very activity which you will be doing. So if I am interested, I will say, okay, I will also join. If you are interested, you will say, okay, even I am interested in this, even I will join. You need not go according to the rule. You're not paid for it. It's just like a social service or some kind of an activity which you enjoy in a very informal way. Okay, or say another kind of informal group is friendship group. One thing I just wanted to tell you, on the laptop,
For example, school children.
one second, I'm just telling you something different. One second. I'm on my, I will rejoin in 5 minutes. Don't worry. Okay. Okay. This is just an information I'm giving you. Okay. Yeah. So coming to another type of informal group, that is friendship groups. This kind of a group also, you know, develops out of common interest. Say, for example, you are very comfortable with some you know, colleague of yours, and you want to, you know, chat with them, or you want to, you know, all group members, or you all group members come together. I mean, you are in an office, you are as colleagues, but say a movie has been released and you say, okay, let's go for this movie. It's a very, very informal kind of a group which you are creating. You say, okay, this movie has been released, so who all wants to come for the movie? Though you are working in an organization in a very formal way, but you are out of that, you are trying to create an informal group again to because of your own interest, or because of some kind of what do you say, consider this some kind of a friendship group. Okay, you want to hang out together, you want to go out for a movie, you want to have lunch together. So these are all kind of informal. It's not like you need not report to your boss, I'm going, we all are going for a movie, we all are going for lunch. It's not necessary. It's not part of the organization where you have to report, you have to you are paid for it, or it's there's no rule as such to follow. It just happens naturally. Okay, so these are two types of groups. One is formal group and one is informal group. So formal group may you have command group and task group. In informal group you have interest group and friendship group. Okay, is it clear so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. It's clear about the informal group.
Yeah. So now continuing with the next next topic, that is characteristics of group. Okay, characteristics of group. These characteristics tell us why groups are created, for what purpose groups are created, what is the outcome, okay, for a group. So basically, groups, as discussed earlier, groups are composed of two or more people in a social interaction, and the members of the group have to have some influence on each other. Okay, the interaction between the group members can be verbal, it can be non-verbal also. Coming to the various characteristics. Here they have given 4 major characteristics of groups. The first characteristic is to be in a group, or to be a group, or to create a group, there has to be 2 or more people in a social interaction who share common goals, have a stable group structure, and perceive themselves as being in a group. Yes, I am a part of this group. Then only a group will be created. Otherwise, a group will not be created at all. Second characteristic is, in addition to having social interaction, a group also must have a stable structure. Definitely, if there is a group, there are chances that the group structure may change depending upon certain factors. But in generally, there must be some kind of a stable relationship between the members that, that binds the group members, and it functions as a unit. If there is no stable relationship between the group members, it does not function in a proper manner. The efficiency of the group will be disturbed. So a collection of people that constantly changes, that is the collection of people inside an office waiting room at any one time, cannot be thought as a group. For it to be a group, some greater stability should be required. It's not that you're just part of the group and you don't do anything. Now, for example, I'll tell you one common example. We have WhatsApp groups, right? Yes, we have WhatsApp groups, right? All of you all must be a part of so many WhatsApp groups.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So sometimes these groups, sometimes some groups are very, very, important. I don't say like that, but every group is important. But still, there will be certain groups which are very, very important, which will be a priority, like maybe your family group, or maybe your, if you're working in an organization, your office group. okay, your university group. So these are some of the major groups which are there. Apart from that, you will have certain groups. You also may be a part of many groups. See, sometimes it so happens that some people are only a part of the group. They don't interact. There is no social interaction. There is no stable relationship which is maintained. Okay, the group does not function at all. So what happens in your WhatsApp chat, that group will be somewhere in the end, because there is no interaction which is taking place within that group, right? So this is not done. If to maintain a group, and to make the group function in a right manner, the structure has to be maintained. The group structure has to be maintained, and there has to be some kind of a social interaction. Okay, that is the second characteristic. Third characteristic is the groups. Yeah, the group members share common goal. That's very, very important. Groups are formed because of some common interest or goal that individuals could not realize alone. Okay, say for example, it can be because of see here, when you say share common groups goals, it can be informal, it can be formal, it can be anything. Wherever you're sharing a common goal, okay, that kind of criteria is sufficient to form a group or to be a part of a group. Okay, it can be any kind of a group. Say for example, suppose you are interested in trekking, you want to go for trekking. Okay, but you cannot do it alone. Sometimes that there will be certain activities which you might not do it alone. You want to be a part of a group, so that you will be motivated, or you will have that interest to get along and all that. You will meet new people and all that. So you'll look out for groups who are interested in trekking. You have so many, online, may also in Facebook also, you'll find so many groups wherein people are interested in trekking. So because of that, because all those people in that group are sharing common goal, it can be their interest or anything, you be a part of that group, you want to be a part of that group. Okay, so any group is created, is sustained, and functions properly because of common goals. If there are no common goals, a group does not sustain. Okay, finally, the last characteristic of the group is, finally, to be a group, the individual members must perceive themselves as a group. So groups are composed of people who recognize each other as a member of their group and can distinguish these individuals from non-members. Yes. Say, for example, the members of a board of governors or a bowling team, for example, know who is in their group and who is not. Okay. Say, it's like, suppose if you are a part of the group, you know that these are your group members. Okay, and you are perceiving them as being a group, because you know that these are your group members, and you know that the other people are not your group members. You can identify your members and the other group members. Okay, individuals from non-members and group members. So that is what they say, perceive them as being a group. You have to perceive yourself that yes, I am a part of this group, and others also should consider this individual or other individuals as a part of that group, and they should also try to identify who is a part of the group and who is not a part of the group. So these are the 4 basic characteristics of group, defining a group, characteristics of a group. Coming to the functions of group members. So far we have discussed classification of groups and characteristics. Now coming to the functions of group members. Under these functions, we have role differentiation, we have norms, and we have status. Okay, size. There are 4 functions. One is role differentiation, one is norms, then one is status and size. I'll be just rushing quickly because we need to finish this, and we also have to start one more unit the next unit. So coming to role differentiation, the first function of the group members. If you are a part of a group, okay, you are supposed to play a role, right? You are a part of a group means you are supposed to play a role, isn't it? Yes, because of a particular role only, you are a part of that particular group. So in an organization also, which is considered as a large group, there are many employees working in that organization, and each employee, though has a particular designation in his office, performs a particular role. So you have different types of behaviors which you actually see in an organization. For example, there will be certain people who are considered as, who always crack jokes, or they might be considered as office comedian. There will be certain people who are considered as company gossiper, like they always gossip about certain things in the company. Or there might be some person who is considered as a grand old man, like they tell all the old good old stories about the company. Okay, so like this, every person in an organization has certain roles. These are common roles which I have just said, but still there are certain roles which people play in an organization. Because a particular role is played, they are a part of that particular group. So there are many specific role behaviors that can fall into either of these categories. Some of these more specific sub roles and specific sub roles are also given. Okay. Yeah. So if you can see, there are certain common roles played by group members. There's actually a table given on page 84. Organization roles may be differentiated into task-oriented, relation-oriented, and self-oriented role, each of which has several sub-roles. Say, for example, I'll just tell you a few of these. For example, task-oriented roles, it is called as initiator or contributors. Like they contribute something. Yes. Anything? Anything? Task-oriented roles, this is initiator or contributors. Here, they recommend new solutions to group problems. They are like contributors towards achieving some kind of an end to a problem. Okay. The relations-oriented roles are, they mediate group conflicts. Like they try to maintain harmony within the group. Then self-oriented roles are like they are blockers. They are very stubborn, they act very stubborn, and they are very resistant to the group. So like this, there are different types of task-oriented roles, different types of relation-oriented roles, and different types of self-oriented roles. Yeah, these are the different types of roles people generally play in an organization. Coming to role conflict. What is role conflict? Each one of us play different roles in our day-to-day life also. Yes, there are so many roles which you play on a daily basis, isn't it? Sometimes we also play multiple roles at the same time, which creates lot of pressure on us. So this role conflict happens, this occurs due to competing demands from the roles we play. Okay, so there is a great deal of interest in the concept of role conflict. That is the idea that the appropriate behaviors for enacting one role may be inconsistent with the appropriate behaviors for enacting another role. Okay, or the requirements of the same role. So here what happens is there are different types of role conflicts. One is inter-role conflict and one is intra-role conflict. Intra. Okay, two role conflicts are there. Inter-role conflicts refers to incompatible demands made on someone playing two or more roles. For example, I'll just give you one example. For example, a person is there who has to play the role of as an office employee. Also, he has to play the role of a family member. Now, sometimes the roles conflict. He does not know which role to play. Whether at the same time, whether he has to play the role of a family member, that he has to play the role of an office employee. So this creates a lot of pressure on the person. He does not know, because both are his priorities. He does not know which role to play. So that is inter role conflict, you can call it as. Another is employees also experience intra-role conflict, in which there are contradictory demands within a single role. Here two roles are not playing, but there is a single role as viewed by different members of the group. Okay, so yeah. So this particular intra-role conflict actually stems from some kind of ambiguities which are there in positions held by these group members. Okay, and it's not clear that what a person occupying a given role is expected to do, and sometimes there is lot of confusion which is created because of this intra-role conflict. Okay, yeah. Then next is yeah. So that is about role conflict. When you're playing more than two roles, or when you are playing multiple roles or the same role, you're creating a lot of pressures. This creates a role conflict, and you don't know how to or which role to perform. Then coming to norms. What are norms? What do you mean by norms? Anybody? What are norms?
Rules, ma'am.
Rules and regulations of the
Yes, exactly.
role.
Yeah, exactly. Norms are nothing but the common rules and regulations which are created by a particular group or a particular organization. Sometimes these norms are created depending upon the basic objectives, basic characteristics of the organization. Sometimes these norms will be created very naturally. Like, it's not necessary that you have to create a rule. Sometimes by default, certain norms will be created. So one attribute of groups that enhances their orderly functioning is the existence of group norms. So why do you think we need to have norms? When a group is there, whether it is formal or informal, there are certain norms which become very, very efficient or very, very important, so that the group functions properly. The group functions, in a very, very orderly manner. Okay, very efficiently. That's why there are group norms which will be created. So norms may be generally defined as some kind of generally agreed upon informal rules that guide group members' behavior. They represent shared ways of viewing the world. Norms differ from organizations' rules in that they are not formal and written. So group members may not even be aware of certain group norms that exist and regulate their behavior sometimes. Yet these norms may have very profound effects on the behaviors. So these norms actually tend to regulate the behavior of groups in different ways or in important ways. Coming to normative influences on behavior. What do these norms have an influence on the behavior of individual? So here, yeah. So in an organization, as we know, there will be certain norms which are commonly created, like you have to come on this time, you have to leave at this time, and you have to report everything to this particular person, and you cannot take your own decisions, or there are certain strict what do you say, ways of doing the work. You cannot do the work as if however you like. So these are some common organization norms which will be created. So, and apart from this, sometimes the pressure to conform to these norms is delicate, and sometimes it creates some kind of a disturbance between the employees. Yeah, but still in the long run, norms definitely, create, or norms definitely help the organization function very, very effectively. Suppose if for example, many of you all must be working in some organization. Suppose if there are no norms in your organization, suppose if they say it's okay, you can come at any time, you can leave at any time, you can do however you want, you can work however you want, you can sit wherever you want, you can do your work however you want. You're not responsible for reporting to your boss, nothing. If these kind of things are said to you in an organization, do you think the organization will work effectively? No, it will not, because everybody will be the everybody is playing a particular role in the group, in the organization, and everybody feels they are the king if there are no rules, and obviously organization suffers. So that's why norms are very, very important for smooth functioning and effective functioning of the organization. So coming to the next topic, development of group norms. How are these group norms developed? Yeah, so the 4 steps of norms development. First one is precedents set over time, carryovers from other situations, explicit statements from others, and critical events in group history. So these are the 4 basic steps in norms development. Coming to the first, precedents set over time. Whatever behaviors emerge at a first group meeting will usually set the standard for how the group is to be operated. Like, yeah, the page number is 86, ma. Page number is 86. So, when you join a group,
Page 86, ma'am.
Page 86, yes. So when you join an organization, depending upon the meetings, group meetings, or your first group meeting, there only the standards of the whole organization will be kept clearly in front of you. Like, you have to come at this time and you have to leave at this time. There is some kind of a way of reporting, like weekly reports have to be given. That is nothing but certain precedents set over time. Seating location of each group member around the table, or it can be time of reporting, time of coming, time of leaving, anything it can be. Then the second one is carryovers from other situations. Norms develops because of carryovers from other situations. That is, group members usually draw from their previous experience in other situations to guide their behavior in the new situation. So the norms governing professional behavior apply here. For example, the norm for a physician to behave ethically and to exercise a pleasant bedside manner is generalizable from one hospital to another. It's a very common thing. Whichever hospital you go, this physician will have the ethics. These are the norms which have to be followed in whichever hospital you are in. Okay. So thus a doctor changing hospitals can expect the same norms of professionalism to preside in a new setting, whether you're working in one organization or whether you're working in another organization. The ethics which are there, which are common throughout wherever you're working, is very, very important. It's not necessary that some new norms will be created. Those are certain ethics which have to be followed, certain professional standards of conduct, we say. Okay. Then third one is explicit statements from others. Sometimes norms also develop in response to an explicit statement by a superior or a co-worker. Newcomers to groups quickly learn the ropes when one of their co-workers tell them, that's the way we do it around here. So the explanation is an explicit statement of the norms. It describes what one should do or avoid doing to be accepted by a group. Okay, it's not like, as I've told you, if you join an organization, you cannot do however you want. There are certain things to be followed in this organization. They say, no, you are in this organization, you cannot do like how you have done in your old organization. There are certain rules over here to be followed. Okay, it's like that. Then finally, group norms may develop out of critical events in the group's history. For example, if an organization has suffered a loss due to one person's divulging company secrets, a norm develops to maintain a secrecy. Like uh, suppose if a group member is there who is trying to leak out all the secrets in the organization to other members, so because of which also there might be loss to the organization. So norms are developed norms are developed to 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 trying to handle these kind of critical events. To develop norms are developed out of the critical events in group's history. Like there is a secrecy to be maintained in the group's policy. In that policy it will be written, no information regarding the group objectives, group goals have to be disclosed to anybody outside the group. So this is how, this is a norm, this is a rule which has to be followed by the group members. If you want to work in that organization, you have to follow this norm. Okay, it's like that. Yes, that is about the norms, development of group norms. Next, coming to is status, the prestige of group membership. Yes, sometimes, we all were a part of groups when we were in school, right? All of you all had groups when you all were in school, when you all were in college. You all were part of a group. Yes.
Yes.
So in school or in college, there would be some kind of a attractive group. Some attractive groups would be there. Attractive in the sense they are very popular. I mean to say, very popular groups will be there. And being a part of that group, you feel very proud about it. Yes, some kind of a status symbol like you feel, isn't it? So that is what is called as status. That is the prestige of group membership. Okay, the status which you maintain, the status which you get because you are a part of a particular group. Okay. So in this, you have formal status and informal status. Formal status refers to attempts to differentiate between the degrees of formal authority given to employees in an organization. This kind of status is generally accomplished through the use of status symbols. For example, some kind of roles given to you. I am the director of this college, or I am the director for this particular activity, or I am the coordinator for this particular book, or I am the author. Like these are some kind of symbols, status symbols given, because of which your role is enhancing, your status is enhancing. That is a formal kind of a status symbol. So these are very few, like few examples of status symbols, formal. Apart from this, informal status operating within the organization. These refer to the prestige accorded to individuals within certain characteristics that are not formally dictated by the organization. For example, employees who are older and more experienced may be perceived as higher in status by their core workers. Okay, so obviously experienced people or seniors, they are given a little more importance, or different kind of a respect is given to them, and they are very they have a different kind of a higher status within the organization in relation to the other co-workers who are juniors. Okay, that is some kind of a status which you get very informally. So formal and informal status. Yeah. So one of the best established findings in the study of group dynamics is that higher status persons tend to be more influential than lower status persons. Okay, so here this is relating to influence of status on organizational behavior. So status differences are also largely responsible for the way people communicate within each other. For example, persons of lower status are likely to address those of higher status by these titles such as general or Mr. President or doctor, whereas less formality, that is using their first names, which is found in persons in the lower status. So this is how people generally behave depending upon their role status in an organization. Yeah. Yes. And this is a very, very common phenomena, which is also, this is also a very common phenomena which is observed. Persons of unequal status, when people of unequal status communicate, it is usually considered more acceptable for a higher status person to initiate the conversation. This phenomena also is demonstrated by many studies which have been conducted in this particular area. So like this, there are different kinds of group behaviors which are observed in an organization depending upon their role status, the status which they get, or the status which they have in a particular organization. Then coming to its size. The size of the group is very, very important, and this is one of the most important determinant of overall effectiveness of the group. But it is also dependent upon the objectives of the group. Okay. If the group is interested to generate creative solutions, the larger the size of the group, the better. If the group is interested in more cohesiveness and try to get quick output, smaller the group, more the better. Okay. So the groups of approximately 7 members tend to be more effective for taking quick action. The size of the group is linked with social loafing. It's a concept in group dynamics which is called as social loafing. So here, size, depending upon the size, every group, there's no particular criteria as such that a group has to have 5 members, a group has to have 10 members, or a group has to have 20 members. Size of the group is determined depending upon the group goals, group activities. Okay. Sometimes small groups are more effective. Sometimes large groups are more effective. Depending upon what you are doing, those many members are good in a particular group. For example, suppose a common example is too many cooks spoil the dish. Isn't it? A common example, too many cooks spoil the dish. That means, suppose if you're cooking and there are many people, I mean, if there is 2 people, that's more than enough. Okay, if there are more than 2 people, like say for example, if there are 3 people, 5 people are doing cooking and finished, gone case, isn't it? Yes. So it's like, you know, everybody will try to give their own opinion regarding a particular dish, and ultimately the dish will turn out to be either very, very tasty or a disaster. So like that, depending upon what is your group goal, what are the objectives of the group, those many individuals are required to form in a particular group. Okay. Yeah. So this is about group goals. Sorry, this is about size of the group, and yeah, we are done with the size of the group, and that's the last topic of Unit 9. Hope this is clear to everyone. Hope it is clear.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now let us start with the next unit, Unit 10, Models of Group Development. Okay, models of group development. I'll just try to share a screen if possible. Any idea how do I share the screen? Like I thought I'll show something.
Ma'am, you will have the option shared screen, ma'am. Click on that.
Screen. Yeah, share screen. I'm pressing, but yeah.
Share content
Yes.
be visible there.
Yes, I got it. I don't know exactly. Can you all see the screen?
It says sharing screen, so it might show up in a minute.
1 second, it's getting uploaded. 1 second.
Okay, ma'am.
1 second, it's getting uploaded.
It is visible.
Yeah, open, ma'am.
Yes, can you all see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
What is there on the screen? I cannot see anything.
Tuckman's 5 stages of group development.
Okay, but I cannot see anything what I am sharing.
Are you on a laptop or are you on
yes,
a...
I am on the laptop.
Okay.
See that now I have changed the slide.
Yes. 5 stages of
see
group development.
Oh,
Yes,
fine.
5 stages of group development.
Yeah. Okay, we'll continue. Yes. So coming to models of group development. Everyone, am I audible? Guys, can you all hear me?
Yeah, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah, yes, audible.
Able to hear, ma'am, but the screen has gone.
The screen has gone. Now can you all see?
No, ma'am. Yeah, now able to see, ma'am.
You're able to see?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
I'll continue without wasting time. I'll continue. Okay, coming to the models of group development. So over here, we'll be discussing about the 5 stages of group development. We'll be discussing about the team effectiveness. That means how teams move through these 5 stages. How do they apply all these 5 stages in their group development? And also we'll be discussing about an alternative model for temporary group with deadlines. Okay, so coming to the first, this is Tuckman's 5 stage of group development. Yeah, Tuckman's 5 stage of group development. Here, Tuckman has identified 5 stages of group development, and these 5 stages are forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. These 5 stages have their own primary characteristics, and it is important to keep in mind that groups can be in any one stage of development at any given time. The amount of time a group may spend in any given stage is highly variable. Some groups may fail long before they have had a chance to work together. And recent research has also revealed that boundaries between the various stages may not be clearly distinct, and that several stages may be combined, especially as deadline pressures forces groups to take action. Okay, so coming to this 5 stages of group development, the first 4 stages of team growth were first developed by Tuckman in 1965. Okay, and later the last stages were developed again by Tuckman a few years later. Okay, that is the last stage, which is called as adjourning. The adjourning stage is when the team is completing the current project. That's called as adjourning. So coming to the forming stage, yeah. So these are the 5 stages of group development: forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. Coming to the forming stage. So the forming stage takes place when the team first meets each other. So girls, this is how groups develop. Sorry, I said girls. See, I'm from women's college, so there are all girls, women in the college. So I keep telling this, but don't mind all of y'all. So the first stage, that is forming stage, how it is useful in group development, it tells us. So this stage takes place when the team first meets each other, and in this first meeting, team members are introduced to each other. Okay, the team members are introduced to each other. They share information about their background, their interests, their experience, and they form first impressions about each other. They learn about the project they will be working on. They discuss about the project's objectives, goals, and start to think about what role they will be playing in the project team. They're not yet working on the project, but they are effectively feeling each other out. Okay, and during this initial stage, this is the first stage. Initially they come together. That's the stage. And the period is characterized by shyness and uncertainty among members. Extroverted, outspoken members may rapidly assume some kind of leadership role. Maintenance concerns are predominating. Why are we here? What are we doing? What is our goal? What is the purpose? Awareness, inclusion, orientation, everything happens in this particular stage. And it is important for the team leader to be very clear about the team goals and provide clear direction regarding the project in this particular stage. And the team leader should ensure that all the members in determining team roles and responsibilities, and should work with the team to help them establish how they will work together. That means this is the first stage, that is forming. The team leader tries to put all people together who are coming from different backgrounds, and they are trying to build up a team so that these group members will start working on a new project with common goals, common objectives. Okay. Then the next stage is
I have a question.
Next stage is, yes.
So in the process of forming, right? At what point, and what kind of strategies do we have to follow for the team leader to be chosen?
Can you repeat it, Mark? Your voice is not.
So, at the point of development of a team leader, right? What kind of strategies are followed for choosing a team leader?
When I stop the screen, then you can talk, because I, whenever I'm sharing the screen, the voice is getting I mean, earlier also I've experienced this. When I stop sharing the screen, then you can ask me your doubts. Stage is storming. Yeah. The next stage is storming. As the team begins and roles within the group. Here, this stage is not avoidable. Every team, most especially a new team who has never worked together before, goes and work as a the team members compete with each other for the status and for acceptance of their ideas. They are coming forward. They have different opinions on what should be done and how it should be done in a group, and everybody wants to share.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking, ma'am. I think it's for me or for everyone.
One thing, I'll stop sharing the screen. Guys, now is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it always happens whenever I share a screen, voice gets cut. I don't share the screen, I just talk like this, okay? Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Slide share link. How do I share? Once again, I'll just try. Yeah, I've shared it. Yeah, I'm not so tech friendly. That's why I keep getting all the doubts how to share and how to do this. Okay, fine. I think you all have got the link. Yeah, I'll continue. So come together, everybody wants to give their opinions, everybody wants to talk, and everybody wants others to listen to their as they progress through the stage with the guidance of the team leader. They learn how to solve problems together, and they function both independently and together as a team. And they also settle into roles and responsibilities of the team. That means in the first stage they are little not exactly informal. In the first stage they don't know each other, they're just beginning to learn about the organization. So that means in the second stage they started working together, and they started knowing about the group goals, group objectives, and how to solve the problems together as a team. Apart from this group, for team members who do not like conflict, it is difficult stage to go through, because at this stage there is a chance that there are a lot of group conflicts which can come out. Okay, so here the team leader, whoever is there, has to be very efficient, and he should there is a need to be adept at facilitating the team through this stage, because it completely depends upon the team leader uh, trying to tackle with all the group conflicts and bring back the team or a group in a harmonious state, so that all the group members come together and cooperate between themselves and achieve group goals. Then the next stage is norming. When the team moves into norming stage, they are beginning to work more effectively as a team. They are no longer focused on their individual goals, but rather are focused on developing a way of working together. So that means they have outgrown. They are little modified, and they are little what do you say? They have developed themselves from concentrating more on individual goals and concentrating more upon the group goals. They want to work as a team. Working together as a team seems more natural. In this stage, the team has agreed on their team rules for working together, how they will share information and resolve team conflicts, and what tools and processes they will be using to get the job done. And in this stage, the team leader may not be as involved in decision making and problem solving as he was in the second stage and in the first stage, because that was the time when the team leader had to play the major role in building up the proximity between the group members and binding them together, so that everybody cooperates among themselves and work as a team. The role of team leader kind of suppresses in this particular stage, kind of becomes little fades away in this particular stage. Then comes the stage of performing. This is the stage 4. Here in this particular stage, up till 3 stages, the group members have have come to an understanding about so much about the group goals, so that here in this particular stage the teams are functioning at a very high level. The focus is on reaching the goal as a group. The team members have got to know each other, trust each other, and rely on each other. And not every team makes it to this level of team growth. Some teams stop at stage 3. Okay, that is norming. The highly performing team functions without oversight and the members have become interdependent. The team is highly motivated to get the job done. They can make decisions and solve problems quickly and effectively. When they disagree, the team members can work through it and come to consensus without interrupting the project's progress. That means there's a lot of maturity, there's a lot of understanding, there's a lot of sustainability which comes in this particular stage, that is stage of performing. And at this stage the team leader is not involved in any decision making or problem solving activities involving the day-to-day work of the team. The team members work effectively as a group and do not need the oversight that is required by the team leader. The team leader will only continue to monitor the progress of the team and celebrate the milestones, achievements with the team to continue to build the team morale. Then the last stage is adjourning. In this particular stage, that is adjourning stage, the project is coming to an end and the team members are moving off into different directions. This stage looks at the team from a perspective of the well-being of the team rather than from the perspective of managing a team through the original 4 stages of team growth. That means this is the last stage of group development wherein now the goals, the objectives of the team members have been accomplished or are being accomplished successfully. The team leader should ensure that there is time for the team to celebrate the success of the project and capture best practices for future use. This also provides the team the opportunity to say goodbye to each other and wish each other luck as they pursue to their next endeavor. So that is where it's called as adjourning, wherein the project comes to an end. That means now is the stage where the group now is the time where the group gets dissolved. That means the work is done and the group gets dissolved. So everybody has accomplished the group goals, objectives very, very effectively and successfully. So these are the 5 stages of group development. It's clear?
Ma'am, can I ask my question now?
Yeah. Tell me.
Yeah. So in the first stage, that is in the forming stage, you had mentioned that it's the team leader who actually is trying to make the rules here, and the same thing with the storming stage, right?
Yes.
So my question is, what is the strategy for the selection of a team leader? I mean, there are type A and type B personalities, and teams can also be type A and type B. That is that they run on their own, making their own task lines, or they need someone who needs to look over them at all times. So what is the strategy for selecting a team leader?
See, in an organization, when there are projects, like a new project is being taken up, the person who is already experienced, the person who is having many credits for him, the person who has certain basic characteristics to function as a good leader, as an effective leader, this kind of a person will be selected to be the team leader for a new team which he is going to create. Okay.
Ma'am, but the thing is that team leaders are also selected from inside the teams, right? So it's not necessarily somebody on top. It's not necessarily that somebody from the top appoints a team leader.
Yes, it will
team
be like that
are
only.
Also selected from inside.
No. The
it's
team
not
leader,
always like that.
See, depending upon what kind of an activity you will be doing. Sometimes the team leaders will be selected from within the group. Sometimes there will be a team leader who will be selected from the organization or from the top managers or from the top management. Okay. It's, as you said, maybe it's not always like that, but depending upon the group activity, sometimes these I've heard sometimes some leaders, they become leaders by default. They will be considered as leaders. Like, okay, this kind of very, very trying to maintain harmony in the group. So let's make this person as the leader. So I mean, sometimes naturally some people Sometimes they will be appointed from top management. So depending upon the activity, depending upon the project, depending upon what a group on that basis. Okay. Is it clear, Ma?
Yes, yes.